Welcome to the MotUS Edge, where we celebrate business, primarily youth sports facility management, leadership, and motivation. Co-hosted by Stacy Rowe, Cole Stott, Kevin Brubaker, and Casey Jones. We are here to fill your cup with knowledge, laughter, affirmations, and comfort knowing that you're not alone. You can and will succeed with the MotUS Edge.
Hi, and welcome to the MotUS Edge. Thank you guys for joining us today. Here with me, I have Justin Carrier, who is the president of competition experience for Varsity Spirit. Hey, Justin.
Hey, I was waving, but I know this is a podcast, so I thought I'd still wave.
Well, they can still see you if they watch it on YouTube. They can see your
Okay,
wave,
cool.
so it's okay. It's good. That's awesome. Well, thank you for hopping on today. We're excited to have you for our short episode today to talk to us about the majors.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you for asking me. The first thing I wanted to say before we chat about the majors is I want to give a shout out to the crew that has been running the majors for the last 14 years. I feel a little guilty that I'm going to be the spokesperson today because there's been a lot of blood, sweat, and tears from our staff and employees. Ali Feldhaus currently does a lot of the heavy lifting. You know, Dan Kessler started it back in the day. This has been a love child of a lot of different people, and I just wanted to give them all a shout out because they've created something really great. And I'm proud that I even get to be a part of it.
That's awesome. And, you know, I know we talked about my book and you interviewed for the Pioneers of All-Star. And it's been fun taking a trip down memory lane and talking to everybody. And I got to talk to Aaron about Jam Fest and starting the brand and starting the majors and all the things. And there's just so many amazing people in our industry, I feel like, that have done some awesome things. So. Are you still there, Justin?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Was I supposed to say something? I'm sorry.
No, I thought you froze. Okay, so the majors is coming up in a few days. So what do we have to look forward to?
It's going to be another great event, and there was some rough weather last weekend, and so we're hoping for a smooth weekend this year. We've got lots of teams competing and performing. And of course, we've got the league live show that I'll actually get to be a part of that will be running in conjunction with the major show. It'll be really neat.
What is the league live show for those of us?
The league live show, we've got two commentators that are talking about the league, interviewing teams off to the side and kind of running parallel storylines that complement the majors. So, you know, the majors is a celebration of athletes. It's the only event that I can think of off the top of my head, at least, that is purely exclusive and who it invites. And there's a focus at this event, unlike most other varsity events, there's a focus on the athletes and letting each of the athletes feel like the rock stars that they are.
That's pretty awesome. I know at the dance battle that we do with Stage 8, we really try to do a lot of the same stuff there as well. So talk to me about, like, how does the majors work? You know, for somebody that's never been, like, what does it look like?
Well, the majors starts the year prior, and it's the one event where teams that have a great track record in a given season become potential nominees the following season to compete. And so there's a combination of their results at a lot of the major varsity events and their placing at Worlds all leads to the actual nomination process. And we work with gym owners over the summer and figure out which teams and which divisions are going to be highlighted. And then they are they're sent a formal invitation, and we do a huge social media reveal in the fall to let the public know who's actually been invited to attend. It's a really cool process, and again, it's unlike anything different. Every other event that I know of that I'm a part of during the regular season is everybody has an equal opportunity to sign up for or compete or to earn a bid. There's no other event that I'm a part of that relies on last year's track record to become invited. You know, and that can arguably be unfair in terms of, you know, rosters change. but that's kind of what's cool about it, is like it's the legacy that you're building with your team leads to an opportunity for the team that follows to have their shot.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. And I think it's the 14th year we said, right? It comes out.
Yes,
It started in
believe
2011.
2011 was the first one, and I remember I wasn't majors wasn't part of varsity at that point, so I experienced the first majors as a competitor event producer. And at that time I was more focused on NCA than anything else. And so, I had my own opinion of the majors as an NCA event producer in year one. I was like, what's going on over there? Because, at that point, not only were teams not really traveling nationally to compete, but NCA and cheer sport, but more NCA was where all of the heavy hitters gathered to compete before Worlds. And at that point in the Midwest, we weren't seeing as much of that. People weren't really traveling to the Midwest for a competition. But that all changed. And it was a smart move on their part, because it created this prestigious event in the Midwest, which didn't really have one of those at the point that teams were really, really vying to be part of. So it was a great move on their end. I mean, selfish NCA Justin couldn't appreciate it, but now I completely appreciate its role in the market and what it does.
And I agree with you. And I think it's, we're at an interesting time now. And I hate to keep going back to the book, but it really has just taught me so much. I feel like all the people that I've interviewed, and you being one of them. And I just think that, the industry, all the decisions that were made that kind of brought us along to where we are. And we're at a time again where I think it's important to just kind of focus on the All-Star as a whole entity and all of the athletes and participants that participate in it. I mean, you and I, we've worked together before, but we don't work together now, but we're friends and we're here doing this podcast, and we'll do whatever we need to do to link arms and do what's best for the sport. You know what I mean? And I think that's important for people.
Well, and it's always good to remember that like diversity in product offerings is a good thing. Like different experiences that aren't cookie cutter is a really, really good thing for the market. And majors has been huge proof of that. There was that question mark over, are other customers going to be okay with not being selected for the majors? How do you look a customer in the eye and say, no, not you, and bring along others who might be huge competitors of the ones that aren't invited in a given year. And that's that not everybody's happy with the invite list once it's published.
Sure.
But it's set a really cool standard.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I think it's those types of events are fun. So how many teams are coming this year?
This year, I'm going to make sure I look at my notes so I don't upset anybody in the Midwest office. But this year we've got 27 teams attending.
Oh, wow.
What's really cool, though, is, people always think, I roll like, oh, the majors, it's the same we got 19 different programs that are taking part of the majors this year, which is well above and beyond those typical gyms that people think of would attend. And they represent 12 different states. So it's a really, really diverse group. And we've got all the major worlds divisions. The limited divisions are not included, only because we want to have one winner in the extra small and the extra small co-ed. And so those teams that have the potential to be invited on the front end, who might be thinking of going limited, they're given that information on the front, like, hey, if you're going to come this year, you can't be in the limited division. So it's not that we're trying to exclude limited teams, but all the teams have a fair opportunity to compete in the counterpart to the limited division in order to be eligible for majors.
Understood. Fun. So the event is Friday night, yeah? And what time does it start?
Thank you for asking me that very important question. I know the information is listed on our website.
Okay,
where
perfect.
You can check it, varsity.com.
That's great.
I think it's
Great.
like 6:30-ish.
Okay, perfect.
And it ends about 8:30, 9. No, I think the awards are at 9:30 Eastern.
I'm guessing at this point it's probably sold out, but if not, they can buy tickets online as well,
Yeah,
I'm assuming.
It sold out freakishly fast.
Yeah, I figured.
Freakishly fast. It'll be aired on Varsity TV in addition to that league live show that I mentioned, but it's sold out pretty fast.
That's awesome. So I think that, like, just to circle back really quickly to talking about the Midwest and kind of putting that event there, you brought up an interesting point, and I think this is just, again, kind of going back to everybody working towards the growth of All-Star. But that happening in the Midwest, I feel like there's a ton of really awesome, large events in the Midwest. And so essentially, but you're right, they not prior. So kind of starting this ultimately maybe led to that down the road in the future. And that's why new and innovative ideas are a good thing and shouldn't necessarily be.
There's so many programs,
afraid.
specifically, I mean, because I live in Texas, but specifically just that Texas is a great example. Like, I know there was a year that Woodlands Elite sent a team or two to majors. And because of that, they're like, well, why don't we just bring everybody else to Jam Fest the next 2 days? So it just opened up opportunities. And then by making that move to create majors in front of Jam Fest, help make Jam Fest such a credible national event where you're going to see teams from all over the country. Because again, rewind 15 years ago, most events weren't national. NCA was heavy Texas. Cheer sport was huge and was heavy Southeast. But this idea of teams like really crossing the entire country wasn't as prevalent as it is now. Yeah.
Which is, it's crazy. I don't know. If you look in your crystal ball, what do we think is coming down the pipe?
I can't tell you.
I know.
Just kidding.
I don't know either. Okay. So is there anything else that you want to share with us today about the majors?
I do want to give a shout out to 3 programs that have never, ever been that are going for the first time. You can imagine how probably nervous they are. So if you could send them good vibes, if you want to wish them good luck on social media, that includes ATA Atomic in the medium all-girl division, which has just had this incredible momentum behind them over the past several years. South Jersey Storm Celsius in the small co-ed division.
I'm from South Jersey. Go South Jersey. Woohoo.
Oh, I'm not surprised to hear that information at all. I wish I was from the Northeast.
What are you trying to say? What are you trying to say, Justin?
Well, I did this. So I did the league live show coverage from Atlantic City. Is Atlantic City South Jersey?
It is.
I did the league live show during the Spirit Cheer Atlantic City event last weekend. And I tried several times to do the accent unsuccessfully. So I won't offend any of your listeners by trying to do the accent again, but just know I'm a fan. And
would you like me to do the accent for you?
That wasn't actually as strong as the one that I do.
Picture this. A little Joe Idea goes walking along. He spots a clear crystal brook.
If I could talk like that, I would.
Do you know what movie
that's
from? No, My Cousin Vinny, which is more kind of like a New Jersey or a New York accent, but still, I love to do Marissa Tomei.
Also, a really old movie. For those listeners at home, if you aren't in your 40s, My Cousin Vinny is an award-winning movie from the late 80s, starring Marissa Tomei, who won an Academy Award.
Yes, she's amazing, and that movie was amazing. It's one of my favorites. But you're right. The children today would have no idea. It's not that old, Justin. Come on, we're not that old. Okay, you said 3 programs, and we only got through 2. Who's the third?
ATA, love you guys. South Jersey Storm, can't wait to see you, and Stars Vipers Hiss from Texas.
Stars Vipers.
They've never been. Anyway,
I love it. That's amazing.
The whole experience. I mean, there's an athlete party on Thursday night. When the teams take the floor, they run a video. We went to each of their programs over the summer and in the fall to record the athletes doing their skills, and the athletes recorded an introduction. So before each team comes out, we put each athlete gets to say their name on the video board, loud and as they're waiting backstage. We roll that video, and so it's just really neat. Because it's such a small event, there's a chance to focus on that athlete experience and make those kids feel super special. It is an event like no other. It's really, really cool.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for hopping on today. We have a tradition here on the MotUS Edge podcast where we go through and we read a quote and we kind of talk about, what we think that quote means and whatever, because we're business people and we're trying to help educate, gym owners and facility owners. And so we're covering all kinds of topics, but I love Simon Sinek. I don't know if you know who he is, but
a very positive.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
He's my favorite. I'm kind of a little bit of a fangirl. I actually met him one time. I'm sure he remembers. And so it's a quote from him and it says, there are two decisions, good decisions and lessons learned. So what are your thoughts on that?
Amen to that. First of all, everything is a lesson learned, in my opinion, not to contradict Simon, but everything is a lesson learned. When I think about the majors, majors was a good decision. My hope in 2011 was that it would be a lesson learned. But what an amazing risk and innovation that the Jam Brands crew at that point came out with, because it totally broke the mold and I think taught our industry a lot. Majors doesn't just serve that group of how many programs did I tell you? That 27 teams or 19 programs. It serves the entire community, because when you create that upper echelon and you put that specific group of athletes on a pedestal, it gives all of our athletes something to look towards, something to strive for. And I think those programs who look at the bigger picture and don't feel threatened because the gym down the street got invited and you didn't, like it's great for our sport that we get to elevate these kids, and it creates a potential path for everybody to be successful, for everybody to strive for.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I think I probably learn more lessons than I make good decisions. I think I'll go with 50-50. 50% of the time I make good decisions. 50% of the time, I'm learning lessons. I'm learning lessons 100% of the time, but like you, I agree. I'm always learning. And I think, I think you're right. I think having these opportunities for kids, whether it be cheer or dance or whatever, gymnastics, any sport, is super important and super helpful. And I think it's also okay for people to acknowledge that not every kid wants to be that either, that they just love the sport and want to participate and they want to be good, but that's not what their, goal is necessarily. And I think that's okay too. I think that it's all okay.
It's something, but I think for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that the event will be fun and exciting and awesome for you guys. And we're looking forward to it. And congratulations to all 27 teams and 19 programs, and especially the 3 newcomers, ATA, South Jersey Storm,
and Stars Vipers.
Yep.
We're excited.
That's awesome.
Tune in on Varsity TV if you can. It'll be fun.
Thank you guys so much for joining the MotUS Edge, and we will be back next week with a full episode. Thank you, Thank you, Justin, for hopping on today. Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to the MotUS Edge. We hope you had a blast. Join us next week for more on business, leadership, and motivation. Subscribe and follow the show where you get your podcasts. Subscribe to our newsletter at joinmotus.com. The MotUS Edge podcast is produced by ClantonCreative.com.